Okay, thank you. Good evening. Tonight's Committee of Adjustment hearing is being held by video conference on live streaming video on the town's live stream webpage at oakville.ca. This is a hearing to consider applications for minor variance and consents held under the authority of the Planning Act. Please keep in mind the intent of this process is to review the application that is before the committee, listen to the evidence, and then make a decision. This process is not intended to be used to resolve any concerns or disputes between town individuals or organizations. If a request for deferral is made and the committee grants such a request, the applicant or authorized agent must contact the Secretary-Treasurer to schedule a new hearing. In order to conduct an effective and efficient electronic hearing, we have adopted the following process. If you are watching the live stream of this hearing on oakville.ca and you wish to speak to an item on the agenda, please call 905-815-6095. Again, that's 905-815-6095. The phone number is also posted on your screen below the live stream page at oakville.ca. Staff will be standing by to take your call. When you call in, staff will ask for your name and item number that you wish to address and your telephone number. Further instructions will be provided for you to call back to join the video conference. When the chair of the committee posts for interested parties, you'll have to press *6 to unmute yourself. The applicant or agent will be given the opportunity to briefly explain to the committee the basis of the application and answer any questions that may arise. A maximum of 5 minutes will be provided for each presentation. You'll need to state your full name and address for the record. Any submissions beyond the 5 minutes will be at the discretion of the committee. All delegations must also state their full name and address for the record. A maximum of 5 minutes will be provided to make those presentations. All remarks and questions are to be directed to the chair. Any submissions beyond the 5 minutes will be at the discretion of the committee. The applicant or agent will then be provided with a further 5 minutes to respond to comments made by interested parties, answer any questions from the committee members, and if the applicant or agent has any concerns within staff report, particularly with those proposed conditions, this will be the opportunity to advise us. The matter will then be taken into committee for a decision, and that will mark the end of all discussions. Any person desiring a notice of the decision for an application must provide a written request, preferably through email, to the Secretary-Treasurer. Written notice of the committee's decision will be mailed no later than 10 days for minor variances and 15 days for consent application. To the applicant and/or agent and any other person who has filed a written request for such notice. The last day to appeal the decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal will be noted on the decision. Only the applicant, specified bodies, and public bodies may appeal the committee's decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Please note that in November of 2022, Bill 23 legislation, the More Homes Built Faster Act, has amended the Planning Act to remove appeal rights for members of the public. If no appeal is received within the prescribed timeframe, the decision of the committee becomes final and binding. The Secretary-Treasurer will then notify the applicant and anyone who has received a copy of the decision through written correspondence. People participating in this hearing are to be courteous to and respectful of the members of the committee, town staff, and any other person participating in this electronic hearing. Tonight's electronic hearing is being video recorded and available for future viewing at oakville.ca. Thank you. Okay. We have no regrets this evening. Do I have any declarations of pecuniary interests? I see none. Thank you. Madam Secretary Treasurer, I'll now take with requests for deferrals or withdrawals of applications. Anyone in the public who seeks to defer an application, please raise your hand and the Secretary Treasurer will invite you in to speak.
I'm showing 2 hands up, Madam Secretary. I'm going to move Michael Barton into the meeting first.
Sure.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Barton.
Thank you. I'm actually on two items tonight, but the item I'm requesting deferral is 6.3 for 149 Balsam. I've read the staff comments and also saw the letters of opposition that were received. I discussed with the owner and the applicant, and they are open to making some modifications to the proposal to address the concerns. So we're requesting deferral so we can go back and discuss with staff and come back with a modified proposal.
Very well, thank you. And that's application 134 of 2025 at 149 Balsam Drive.
Yes.
We do have four letters of opposition from neighbors, and I note that we have them on record and urge you to um, reach out to the neighbors and um, take it from there, I guess.
Yes, we will. We appreciate the comments. Thank you.
All right, members, all those in support of a deferral. Okay, the application has been deferred. You'll see the secretary treasurer at your earliest convenience. And anyone in participation this evening for application 134 of 2025 at 149 Balsam Drive. This matter has been deferred, and you will get another notice when the application is ready to come before the committee once again. Thank you.
And we have one more hand up, Madam Chair, Marco Rossellini. I'll move him into the meeting.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Marco Razzolini. I am here representing item 6.1, 1284 Warwick Avenue.
Very well. Go ahead, Mr. Rossellini.
Yes, we would like to request a deferral for today. Excuse me. We had the opportunity to review staff comments and would like some time to review the proposal as well as meet with staff in order to ensure that we're putting an application forward that meets the design policies and hopefully is supported by staff. There was also the item that we missed for the swimming pool setback. So we need to ensure that's reflected on the public notice, although with the changes we're making, that may change as well.
Very well, thank you. I know that you do have letters of support. Thank you for that. Members, all those in support of a deferral. Okay, thank you. Your application has been deferred. You'll see the secretary treasurer at your earliest convenience. Thank you, Mr. Rossellini.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll proceed with the first item on our agenda following these deferrals, and that's application 133 of 2025 at 308 Woodland Drive. Again, that's application 133 of 2025 at 308 Woodland Drive. Go ahead, Mr. Barton.
Thank you very much. So this application relates to a minor variance with respect to a one-story addition to the existing dwelling. So the staff report has identified the variances that are requested. Two of the variances relate to eaves, minor encroachment of eaves, so variance 1 and variance 2. Variance 3 relates to reduction to the minimum south interior side yard. So it is relatively small relative to the existing interior side yard on the south, and the north does comply and actually exceeds the minimum requirement. The fourth variance is to increase the maximum dwelling depth to 20.39 meters. However, as I will note a little bit more detail, It is a very limited portion of the dwelling that's actually the 20.39 meters. And then the final variance is to the minimum front yard. I reviewed the comments from staff. I agree with the staff comments that, my opinion, the tests are met. I think, when you look at the nature of the variances and the nature of the proposal, the four tests are satisfied. I did see the comment from the neighbors at 292 Woodland Ave. Their concerns seem to relate primarily to the front yard setback. Again, I think when we look at the plan, we can see that it's a very limited portion, that southeast corner of the front yard, due to the angle of the street. So you can see how the street curves along the frontage. It's a very small portion where there's actually 10.5 meters, and for the most part, the front yard setback actually exceeds the minimum requirement. So the proposal that these variances relate to, as I indicated, it's primarily due to the small front addition. We're going to see a gross floor area increase of just over 25 square meters. It brings it up to 283.17 meters squared. There'll be some then interior renovations as well that don't affect the existing structure. So those variances are primarily related to the existing structure and the extension of the front addition. So the south side yard setback is currently 2.48 meters of the existing dwelling. So it's going to be a 9 centimeters difference due to the addition on the front. So what happens is, just because of a slight tapering towards the front of the lot frontage, the wall of the addition is actually 9 centimeters closer to the south property line than the existing home. So that's why there's the 2.39 meters. As I mentioned, the addition portion has a very limited location where the front yard setback is 10.5 meters. So I provided in my report some key elements of the proposal, just to point out that the proposal is maintaining the one-story built character form of this dwelling, as opposed to going to a new two-story dwelling, which would be permitted as of right. The proposed height, floor area, and lot coverage are significantly less than are permitted, which helps to mitigate any inverse impacts associated with the relief to the front yard setback or the south side yard setback. The existing side and rear yard setbacks are effectively being maintained. So the north side yard and the rear side yard are being maintained, and then that south side yard is a 9 centimeter difference due to that, as I indicated, a slight tapering of the lot width towards the front. That you can see on the site plan that the maximum dwelling depth is just for that limited portion where you have the porch at the front and the projection in the center of the property. For the most part, the dwelling depth is significantly less than 20 meters. There's a variable front yard setback, so that results in that pinch point where the minimum setback gets to the 10.5 meters. But for the most part, it actually exceeds the minimum requirement. Again, the overhang encroachments are very limited compared to the 0.6 meters that's permitted. I would say, even with the front yard setback that's being requested, this dwelling still maintains the consistency of the existing front yards along this street. As I indicated, it's a very small location where we're even seeing a change to the front yard. So overall, my opinion is that the renovated dwelling is going to fit in with the character of the neighborhood and will actually be considerably smaller in height, scale, and massing than would be permitted if you were to go to a two-story dwelling. So I think the potential for impacts is mitigated. So again, my opinion, and I'm happy to go into the details or any questions, but my opinion is that the four tests are met individually and cumulatively with these variances. I think it will lead to an enhancement of the dwelling, but in a matter that I think it's a key element is it's maintaining the one story, relatively limited floor area character of this property and how it fits in with the neighborhood character. So with that, I'd welcome any questions or comments from the committee.
Thank you, Mr. Barton. Any questions or items of clarification from Mr. Barton? Okay, I see none. In that case, who's ready to move a motion? Go ahead, Ms. Price.
Taking into consideration my site visit, the submissions from the agent, finance staff, and the letter of opposition from Mr. and Mrs. Bell, I believe the application to be minor in nature and is in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw and is desirable for the appropriate development of the land. I would agree with the agent that the requested front yard setback is for a limited portion of the dwelling and will be consistent with the existing setback adjacent and neighboring properties. In conclusion, I recommend the application be approved subject to the following conditions. The addition be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan dated August 8th, 2025, and elevations dated August 23, 2025, and that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Thank you, Ms. Price. Madam Secretary Treasurer, I forgot to ask if anyone had their hands raised up to speak to this matter.
We're showing no hands, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you. All right, so the motion before us is to approve the application that is before us, as Ms. Price indicated, as per the set conditions. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good evening. Application 136 of 2025 at 364 Lakeshore Road East. Again, that's application 136 of 2025 at 364 Lakeshore Road East. I have Mr. Richard Metaljan here as the agent.
Thank you. Yes, it's Rick Metaljan from SMDA Architects on behalf of the owners at 364 Lakeshore East.
Go ahead, Mr. Metaljan. Thank you.
Thank you. So yes, to the committee, a good evening. Before you this evening with a rather unusual project. This is an infill development. It's on the south side of Lakeshore Road, just east of Allen Street, so very close to downtown Oakville. There's an existing single-family home on the site, but it's a very mixed area in that we're looking at something which is just east of the commercial shopping core of Oakville, and it's surrounded on the west side by an existing semi-detached dwelling, on the east side by an older apartment dwelling, and across the street, of course, by also older apartment dwellings. So our proposal is for a 4-unit building. It's configured, because of the zoning requirements, it's configured as a semi-detached dwelling for zoning purposes, each of those dwellings having an accessory dwelling unit. But in total, it's a 4-unit development. Each of the units having direct access to grade. We have dealt quite extensively with staff on this issue. We're very happy to have staff support, and staff realizes and expresses in their comments that they feel that in fact this is a good example of gentle infill and gentle intensification of this site. So we're before you, though, with a request for 3 variances, and these are rather technical in nature, given the fact that the building is technically 2 semi-detached dwellings. So the variances are in regard to driveway width. A semi-detached dwelling is allowed by the zoning bylaw to only have a single car driveway. And in this case, we have there's 2 existing driveways on the site where we're maintaining them both. They're single car driveways as they come in from Lakeshore Road, but then they expand once they get into the site. So they give a cumulative driveway width of 13.7 meters. There is no single driveway which is that wide. That's the cumulative width of the driveways at the widest point. So that would be the first variance that we're before the committee to ask. The second variance that we're before the committee to ask is in terms of the number of garages. Again, a semi-detached dwelling under the zoning bylaw is only allowed one single-car garage. In this case, each of our units has 2 single-car garages, and so that's a total of 4 single-car garages on site. And as well, the zoning bylaw considers any kind of overhang that you park under to be a garage for that purpose. And so you can see with the way we've drawn the cars here that there are actually technically 5 garages, although the one closest to the street really is just an overhang that you park under. But from the zoning standpoint, there are 5 garages where the site only would be allowed typically to have 2. So to allow those additional garages is the second variance. And the third variance is in respect of setback of garages to the property line. And this variance is driven by that unusual condition again where that overhang is considered to be a garage. So there's a requirement for a reduced setback of 2.6 meters to a garage, but in this case it really is a setback to the overhang and not a setback to the garage. We've made an effort to contact all of the neighbors surrounding. The only neighbor who responded to us was the neighbor directly to the south. You have a letter in your comments from him. He's supportive of the design. He had some concerns about the parking space closest to that parking space, the one that's in the rear yard there. It effectively faces into his backyard. He has some concerns about privacy and safety associated with that. So to mitigate those, on this drawing that's before you tonight, you'll see that we've shown an armor stone landscape feature at the front of that car. So that would do 2 things. One is it would create some privacy, and of course it'll be planted on top of the armor stone. It creates some privacy, so there's no car lights shining in his backyard and so on. And he was also concerned, what would happen if a car were not to stop. The armor stone will take care of that. So we've addressed his concerns that way, and our understanding is that takes care of his concerns, and he's supportive. No other neighbors approached us to offer any comments. So that would conclude my comments. I'd be very happy to answer any questions from the members. And once again, I want to express my thanks to staff for working with us on this. There have been several versions of this and so on, and we're very happy to have staff's support. So that would be my comments, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Metaljan. Are there any questions or items of clarification from Mr. Metaljan? Go ahead, Mr. Dickey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to get a little explanation.
Yep.
I guess it's really a planning department is calling these 5 garages.
Yes.
As opposed to what I might consider 2. But just so you can help me out there. Let's say the 2 rear garages are called 2 garages because they have a wall in between the 2 parking spaces?
That's correct. That's correct. We actually discussed that with staff, and so because the zoning bylaw the zoning bylaw allows for semi-detached dwelling, the zoning bylaw allows 1 garage, but it can only be a size for a single car garage. So we could have taken that wall down, but what that would have done is that would have created another variance for garage size as well as number of garages. So we left the wall in place for that purpose. And the other reason for that is because we have divided it up on the front, especially. We have divided it up to indicate there was question about, because we have 4 units here, right? So there was question about who was going to park in each unit, and we identified which garages were going to be for each. In the case of that rear one, the one unit is going to occupy both of those interior garages, and 1 unit is going to occupy an exterior garage. In the case of the front one unit is going to occupy the 1 garage and the outdoor space, and the other unit is going to occupy the second garage. And so that's a reason as well to give privacy. But yes, it's a sort of technical zoning question that's got to do with the fact that typically the zoning requirements for semi-detached homes are what you would typically expect this semi-detached home to be. But this building doesn't look like a typical semi-detached home, and that's what's driving those variances.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, items of clarification? Okay, I see none. Has anyone called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary, or raised their hand to be invited in to speak?
Yes, we do have one person, Madam Chair, Mr. James McIntyre. I'll move him into the meeting.
Okay.
Hello.
Go ahead, Mr. McIntyre.
Hi. I'm the property owner at 360 Lakeshore Road East. I don't have an objection to the plan as it's designed. I wanted to note that there is a grade differential between 364 and 360 that affects the ability of the walkway on the west side of the building to be stable. And that grade differential should be addressed prior to construction. The other issue that I noted is that the stated height of the building is 14.07 meters with a maximum height of 14.5 meters. When you look at the detailed drawings, there's a parapet that rises 1.1 meters above the roof level, and there's a further 2.74 meters to the top of the roof access. And while I'm not familiar with the zoning requirements, that seems to say to me that the roof height is higher than the zoned roof height.
Okay, we'll get some answers for that. Go ahead, Mr. Metaljan.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I can answer that certainly. Yeah. So with these kinds of buildings, the height is measured to the top of the flat roof deck. The zoning bylaw actually allows 2 meters of parapet wall on top of that if you need that much or want that much. So that 1.2 or 1.11 meter that you referred to, Mr. McIntyre, that's the parapet wall, and that projection, that parapet wall height is allowed under the zoning bylaw. And the zoning bylaw also allows roof accesses to exceed or to go above that finished height. So that roof access is in addition to the building height, but the building height doesn't measure to the roof access. The building height measures to the top of the flat roof deck.
In that case, could I make a request that the parapet height actually be higher so that the overlook of my roof is less able?
We can do something on your side to address that, certainly, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right. In terms of the grading issue, Mr. Metaljan?
Yes, yeah. There will of course be a whole grading plan that will be done as part of this. Thank you for bringing that to our attention, but we'll certainly be taking care of that. And grading is something which the town reviews very, very carefully. So we'll make sure that is taken care of, and I'd be happy to reach out to you later once we have a grading design to make sure that in fact you're satisfied with it.
I've unfortunately owned a property in Oakville where the grading was passed and it was to my cost.
Oh, okay. Well, as I say, I'd be happy to reach out once the grading design is done to make sure that you're satisfied with it.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Ms. McPhail, you have your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to clarify that if it's the wish of the committee to have the elevation drawings concerning the parapet to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning, that would be at your discretion. The other is about the site alteration permit, that the walkway and the grade differential can be addressed through that process.
Very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we accept that condition.
Okay. Very, very well. All right. Are there any other questions, items of concerns, or anyone else that seeks to speak to the committee?
We're
Okay,
showing no more hands.
Very well. Thank you. All right. Who is ready to move a motion?
Excuse me. May I just say one final thing? I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
provided some. Thank you. I provided some drawings this afternoon to the Secretary Treasurer. They're slightly revised elevation drawings that are nothing changes from a zoning standpoint. We simply changed some window locations on the sides and rear of the building, and we changed some of the exterior materials. And I would appreciate it if the committee in their decision could reference those updated elevations as opposed to the former ones.
Okay. Do we have them on hand, Madam Secretary Treasurer, so you can display them, or no?
Yes, we do. One moment. Are these the correct ones?
So you showed that site plan with the Armorstone feature. They were part of that same package. So what I scroll down to the elevations, and I can tell you. That doesn't look like it. That might be more like it. Can you scroll through that, please? No, that's the previous one. We decreased the amount of brick and increased the amount of siding on the rear elevation. That may be it there. That's it. So we decreased the amount of brick. So we left the brick on the ground floor only, and we did siding above on the rear elevation and on part of the side elevations. So if the committee could review those, and if they're happy with those, reference those in their decision, I would appreciate it.
Okay.
There, that's correct as well. And that's correct as well. And the plan does not change, with the exception of that Armorstone feature at the rear there to give comfort to the neighbor to the south.
Okay, very well. Does anyone have any questions or items of clarification? Okay, I see that. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Tarowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, probably in a typical scenario, far too many revisions being requested on the fly here. However, I do believe they are all minor. So, Madam Chair, I'm going to move this application be approved as applied for, finding that it meets the four tests of the Planning Act. I don't believe the variances being requested are going to cause impacts. We've heard from two members of the community. I believe the applicant has addressed those issues, and issues can also be addressed through the site plan and final approval. So, Madam Chair, with all the suggested changes, I'm just going to make the approval subject to two conditions: that the elevations and site plan be revised to address driveway, parking, walkway, and parapet wall matters to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning, and that the approval expires within 2 years if the building permit has not been issued.
Okay, very well. Is there discussion on this recommendation? Okay, I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Methado. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Application 137 of 2025 at 247 Roxton Road. Again, that's application 137 of 2025 at 247 Roxton Road. I have Mr. Sergio Galvez as our agent. Go ahead, Mr. Galvez.
Oh, sorry. My name is Sergio Galvez, Galvez Design Inc. at 2030 Bristol Circle, Suite 210 in Oakville. Just a quick background on this project. Last year, the coach house, located at the back of the house, caught on fire. The entire unit had to be gutted due more to water damage than fire damage. So when the homeowners went to apply for permit, the building department did not have a record of this being an ADU. Even though since the clients or the homeowners had this home since 2007, it had been a coach house and an apartment. Even the builder of this development at the time, it was one of the options that you could have had a coach house above the garage. In light of this, we needed to do a variance for the parking, whereas Oakville requires 3, 2 for the home and 1 for the ADU. We are seeking a variance for just to have 2 parking spaces. We want to note that there's several dozen similar coach houses or accessory dwelling units along in this neighborhood with the same basic, there's not enough room for 3 parking spaces. So that is why we are seeking this variance. Again, just to have 2 total.
Okay. Questions for Mr. Galvez? Go ahead, Mr. Dickey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of things, just in relation to what you just mentioned. Because when I went down the laneway, I understand that the zoning allows coach houses on the corners of the laneway at the side streets. But in the middle of the lane, as you go through the laneway, I think I saw 5 or 6 other second-story structures on top of the garages. So you're suggesting that those were built by the developer and were likely built as apartments as opposed to some other function. So I'm asking the agent here.
Yes. Yep. I'm happy to answer. So again, the developer at the time was, sorry, I'm just looking for the record of the developer there. Again, okay, so the clients back in 2007 purchased this property. It had the coach house. It was being rented at the time. And the residents have continued renting it out. At the time, the developer who built this Tribute Homes, sorry, there it is, Tribute Homes, gave the option if you wanted to build a coach house for whatever purpose. I mean, some people would use it for themselves or who knows, but regardless, this one in particular had been used as an ADU since 2007. And there is, like what I was mentioning, if you took a drive around that whole entire neighborhood, yes, there is ones on the corners, but there's also ones along the laneway that are, I mean, did we knock individual on each home to see how they're being used? No, but a lot of them are being used as accessory dwelling units.
Okay, thank you. Another question. And so it appeared to me, and I wasn't quite sure, if you're on Roxton Street, a road at the front of the building, there's no, the side yards aren't wide enough to have a gate. So I can't go to from Roxton up the side yard and get in through a gate to get in the rear yard. Is that correct, or did I misinterpret that?
No, you are not. There is about 2 feet on either side. It's through the back that there is access. It's like basically through a drive, which is where all the rear-facing garages.
Oh, no, I realize that. No, I realize that. I'm just asking you, if I were to go visit that property, your subject property, and I want to visit somebody in that apartment, and I realize I can't park on the lane, and I don't want to. I didn't realize I'm going to go over Sawgrass Road, and I parked on Roxton. Unless I went through the house, I couldn't get back to that back apartment.
There is a tight, like there is it is fenced in, but you are correct. There is about 2 feet on either side of the house.
And there's not a gate there.
That one does not have a gate from, let's say, approaching. You have to walk around to the back.
So if I was visiting them, as a visitor wanting to park my car, I'm not talking about the tenant. Hopefully the tenant would instruct me to park on Sawgrass or whatever the other street is to the east, and walk down the 4 or 5 houses to get to my coach house. And that's the only way to get from a car to the coach house now.
Yeah, that's basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're correct. Everyone along there would have to park, even additional friends or anyone visiting. Yes, would have to park on Roxton or on the side streets as well to get access into that laneway.
Oh no, I realize that. When I was on Roxton, I'm not denying there's no cars parked. There was parking allowed on the north side of the street, and you just thought, oh, that's easy. Somebody comes, they park there as a visitor. I'm not talking about the tenant. As a visitor, walk up the side of the house, but I didn't think there was a gate. But anyhow, I'm just thinking that through, making sure I understood that right. I wonder if I can ask a question to the town planner. Thank you, Mr. Agent, for the owner. To the planner, maybe I have a question. And the question relates to, in the subdivisions north of Dundas, I was under the understanding that a third parking space is not required for when you add an additional dwelling unit in a building, in a residence. I realize we're south of Dundas. Don't get me wrong. I'm just going through the aspect of it. The newer zoning bylaw doesn't need a third parking spot. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And just maybe on the other thing, because I was questioning the agent, the thought would be, let's just kind of like say, if those that space above the other garages are being used as apartments, that's definitely legal non-conforming or illegal.
They were legally established, so yes. And others can come and make application for an additional dwelling unit above the detached garage.
So the thought might be that when the zoning bylaw was changed in 2014, they took away that right for those ones except for the ones in the corner, or do you know the history of that? If they were legal in 2007 or when they were built, then something must have changed, obviously. And logically, it might have been the whole bylaw or site specific, and the new bylaw was added.
Unfortunately, I don't know the history, but this is within the Uptown core growth area. And we are supportive of gentle density, just like this, where space is being used for or converted to dwelling units that are affordable.
Okay. If you had had documentation that was actually used as an apartment, that would have been, it could have been, don't get me wrong, it could have been interpreted as a legal non-conforming use, and they wouldn't have to oh no, they'd still need yeah, it's not the use of the apartment. That's why I'm getting again. Not the use of the apartment, it's the aspect that they don't have the third parking space. Okay,
that's correct.
Sorry,
yes.
sorry,
That's okay.
I'm jumping something. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Tolsky.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a question for staff, and I'm not sure if it's for Ms. McPhail. I see Ms. Buckerfield is also here. I've raised this before. I struggle with these applications every time. The North Oakville zoning bylaw is older than the bylaw that applies here. It did not require additional parking space. The newer bylaw, the town specifically required an additional parking space for the accessory units. Yet every single application of this nature has come to this committee. The town has supported not requiring the additional parking space. And I fully understand the need for additional dwellings. I can appreciate the locational attributes of this application in the uptown core, but it forces me every time to try to determine that the intent of the zoning bylaw is purely to provide adequate parking, not to provide the parking that it requires. And I always struggle with that. And so I guess my question is the ongoing zoning review going to deal with this issue if the town's position is it's not required, but the town zoning bylaw requires it?
So the zoning, there is a zoning review that's under review, but in this case, and when it comes to second dwelling units, we're looking at how local or the transit, what is available in the area, and what's the nature of the unit. So yeah, in this case, we're supportive of this gentle intensification. We look at each application on the merits of each proposal, and this is simply reinstating what was there previously that was permitted with the builder. And so, yeah, I'm not sure if I can say anything else. Catherine Beckerfield is a senior planner, and she's working on the zoning review.
Through you, Madam Chair, the zoning review that you're referring to is related specifically to zoning bylaw 2014-014 and the residential low zones. This property is zoned uptown core, and so that is actually outside the scope of the residential zoning review. But this specific area is subject to another review of the uptown core that's been ongoing, and there could be an opportunity to review these regulations and intent for the area through that. But this is a growth area specifically, and so it has a bit of a different nature than other parts of South Oakville, and that's where we've seen more opportunity for relief for this type of variance. And as Delia mentioned, it's near transit, it is growth area, and it is close to Dundas, whereas just north of there, under the zoning bylaw 2009-189, we do have that relief for not requiring that additional parking space. Happy to answer more questions.
Thank you for that. It just seems like from that explanation, this area probably should not have this requirement for the additional parking space, and that should be looked at in the Uptown Core review. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further before we take the matter into committee? Has anyone called with interest for this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
No, we have no hands and no calls.
Very well, thank you. Okay, who would like to start the discussion by moving a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Hardcastle. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Having undertaken my site visit and reviewed the written materials, having heard the presentation and the conversation, I'm satisfied that the requested variance conforms with the four tests of the Act, clearing the way for much needed affordable housing in Oakville, in a location where parking and access to transportation is readily available. I will put forward that motion subject to the two conditions contained within the staff report, those being that the addition and proposed garage. Sorry, just double checking. That the addition and proposed garage be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan dated September 10th, 2025, and the elevation drawings dated September 5th, 2025, and that the approval will expire within 2 years of the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued.
Thank you, Mr. Hardcastle. Is there discussion on this recommendation? Okay, I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, committee.
We have minutes for September the 17th to confirm. Thanks, Ms. Price. And motion to adjourn. Thank you, Mr. Hardcastle. We are adjourned at 7:52.